Welcome to the Flagler podcast studio and another episode of The Dish. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to a breaking news episode of The Dish. We have a lot going on here in Palm Coast, and we're here to talk about it today. Been getting a lot of messages, a lot of phone calls, and been having a lot of meetings about these things. So firstly, today we're going to talk about the water rate hike. A lot of people don't understand why our water rate keeps going up, and we're talking about the fees and the base water rate also. We all know that we just had a water rate hike. Our bill went up, actually, is what I'm going to start calling it. Just went up. I think it was this month, last month?
Last month.
Yeah, so it just went up, and everybody keeps asking why the bill keeps going up. So the city sent out this letter that Alan's showing you on the screen right now. And the letter kind of gives you a bunch of reasons why it's going up. So they are trying to maintain our service reliability, safeguarding public health and safety. So I guess after the hurricane, we couldn't flush our toilets or wash laundry or do dishes. I guess it's to maybe that doesn't happen again. I think. They also want to meet regulatory requirements. That's a big one. A lot of people don't know we're under a mandatory upgrade to our water treatment system through the state because it runs at or near capacity.
Yeah, we're at capacity. In fact, if people remember back during the last hurricane, people had to stop using their toilets and basically stop using water.
Right.
Because it just couldn't handle it.
Right, and that was scary to have to do that for several days. And I remember when I would go to work, because I work in St. Augustine, people couldn't believe it. And I'm like, no, it's true. I think it was like 4 days where I live, we couldn't shower.
Yeah.
The toilet flushing, we were supposed to keep it to a minimum. And they didn't want you to run the dishwasher, of course. So paper plates and all that stuff was okay. But for people that just moved here, that's a big shocker. For people that move here.
Yeah, it's also a big deal for companies that want to come here because they have a concern. And if you remember, one of the former mayoral candidates spoke out that they had lost 3 businesses that wanted to come here, but the city couldn't guarantee water. Yeah. So if I'm a business, I'm not going to dump millions of dollars and not know whether I can actually do my operation.
Right. If you could do your operation or still have your business running, that's a big, that's a scary thing to have to worry about. So I can totally understand that. On the same token, if that's the case, as a lay person in that business, I still don't understand why they can't slow down development to let our water plant and our stormwater catch up, because it is an issue here in Palm Coast.
It's a big one.
Beautiful city. We have so many amenities here. I mean, we're so close to everything. And I'm not against development. I'm just against stupid development.
Well, and you and I have said that from the beginning. We're not against development. It just has to be properly controlled.
Right. And I don't see why the developers can't understand if they can't already give water to all of us and not have to limit it when we have a hurricane. Then they shouldn't, no more houses should be added because we can't already take care of what we have, which has been my preaching phrase since I started.
Right.
Back to the days of the flooded and Flagler days,
Well, one of the false statements, false illusions that the developers put forward, and I'm not picking on any particular developer because this is pretty much developer wide.
Right.
They want to say, well, if we build more houses and we have more rooftops, we get more property tax, which can help pay for this. But
that's a lie.
It's a lie. Of course, no. And the impact fees. The impact fees go for new things. So it's a total fallacy to believe that building is going to decrease the tax and whatever fees that we're going to get hit with in order to bring up the water treatment facility, which when it hit 50%, they should have been budgeting money so
Right.
that we don't get hit and
They should
stuck
have been
where we
planning
are right
ahead
now.
and
Yeah.
and being proactive.
Yeah,
and
same thing
that's-
with the streets. They just don't do that.
Right. Well, that's why the Melissa Reese got fired, I believe,
Yeah.
because she found that there were things going on that weren't correct as far as money's being moved around for things, and was going to say something, and I guess they didn't want her to do that, so she's not there any longer. But she has an attorney now, and hopefully we're going to get her on the show to talk about this stuff once everything's cleared with the city, because I know they're kind of in a lawsuit together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm about people speaking up about the truth and what's really going on and bringing it to light, because that's the only way we're going to fix things.
And people hate the truth, by
They
the
hate
way.
well, it hurts some
Yeah,
people
it
because
hurts.
they've been
It
counting
hurts.
on what they've been getting for so long that they shouldn't have been getting in the first place,
Right.
that it makes them upset. And that's just, part of it's going on nationally right
Uh,
now.
Even if we look at the Palm Harbor golf course, they back early spring.
Yeah, that issue's back up, the golf
Yes.
course.
Well, back in early spring, the question was asked of the current acting city manager, what how it was doing, because they were talking about, maybe it was actually last winter, they were talking about potentially rate increases for the players at the golf course, and they were told, well, we're breaking even, things are good. So they minimized the potential increase that they could have charged people to go play. And later on now, we find out that it's millions in the hole. So they got lied to,
Yeah.
basically, or misled. I won't say lied
Right.
because, people, I didn't lie, I just
Well, some
misled.
people omit stuff to make stuff sound a
Yeah.
certain way when it's not really
When it's
that
not.
way.
And that's why, they took why they purchased golf carts and not leased golf carts like just about every other golf course in existence.
Right.
I don't know why we bought them, but if you look at the budget, or not the budget, yeah, I guess the budget. If you look at the budget, the golf carts are in the city's truck fleet budget, and not in the golf cart budget. They tried to push things around to make it look like we weren't losing as much money as we were.
We've found
And
a
I'm
lot
not.
of things that have been moved around, or
Oh yeah.
at the last day of a budget put in, or all kinds of
Yes.
stuff like that when we were looking at stuff
Yeah,
last 2 years ago. We
there's a
were
lot
looking at
of
all that.
playing around with the books just to
and
try
a lot
to
of
make
places
things.
do it, but when we're on such a tight budget here in Palm Coast, and
Yes.
especially our infrastructure is crumbling.
Yeah,
I mean, not crumbling, but I mean, I've been here for 10 years. You've been here way longer than me, and you know what I'm talking about. People that, I'm going to say this again, so please listen. Those of you that just moved here, I know that you are enamored with the beauty and the gorgeousness of Palm Coast. I agree with you on that. You think it's great here because it's so much less crowded than where you came from. And there's, nicer people because everybody's not crammed in together. Well, we have been crammed in together now for a while. It's so much worse than it was when I moved here. So to me, it's not the same quiet little town anymore that it was. Not that it was quiet. It was moderately busy. Just enough to have something to do, to meet people. We're close to everything. But now a 10-minute drive across town that us locals are used to takes us 20 minutes.
right.
And that's just not what I moved here for. But I'm not leaving. I want to keep things maybe how they are now and not let them get worse. So that's why we're talking about these water issues, the infrastructure things going on, anything going on in the city, just to slow down the development so everybody can get accustomed to the flow and the mass volume of people we have now, and then add some more stuff. Our water plant's at capacity. That's what we're talking about today. The stormwater, wastewater,
Yep.
and our water. I don't know about you, but I don't even drink our water. I use it in my coffee because it goes through a filter,
Yeah, I won't
but
drink
I
it
don't
either.
drink the water. I buy bottled water like just about every other person in Palm Coast. The water stinks sometimes, and there has been many pictures sent to me of the water not being clear. That's why I don't drink it.
Yeah.
So-
they don't treat out. I don't know what the actual phraseology would be, but they don't remove the coloration of the water. They say that's coming up out of the ground. They say the green look and all of that of the water is the way the water is in the ground. Well, I'm a scuba instructor, and I've dove many springs in Florida, and we're sitting over an aquifer right here that we get our water from. And for the most part, the spring water is either crystal clear, where it doesn't even look like you're underwater,
right,
or there's a little bit of siltation kicked up, and it's got sand or whatever in the water.
It's got like a little tinge
right,
to it.
But it's not green.
Yeah, and I can't drink the water. And another thing about the water, a lot of the newer people that live here don't know this either. So this is kind of an informative thing for y'all and for residents that don't have a way to get this information, like they don't do social media. So that's why I do this podcast. I come home every night around the same time. It's usually any time between 10:30 p.m. and 12:30 p.m. depending upon the day of the week. And I always come down Palm Coast Parkway, and the sprinklers are always on in the median. Okay, I know our water's high. That is not the same water that we're paying high dollar for. That water is coming, it's non-potable water.
Right.
It's non-drinkable water. Our water plant has to expel some of its volume.
By water plant, you really mean the sewer treatment plant.
The sewer treatment plant has to expel some of the volume to make room for the new stuff coming in. So that water, I guess, is treated but not drinkable, and that's what they use to water everything in Palm Coast.
It's treated but not disinfected.
Right, so don't drink it, and definitely don't bathe in it. But I used to think the same thing when I first moved here. Well, my God, why are the sprinklers running all the time? They run on Royal Palms around the same time, too. They have it set up to where they get rid of however many thousands of gallons, and they have the sprinkler set up to dispel it out. And it is stinky. That's why it has that smell. I can always tell when I get to Palm Coast because it has kind of a sewery smell. And I'm sorry, but it does. Over by Toscana, over off Old Kings Road, on Palm Coast Parkway at the time frame I told you, and also on Royal Palms at the time frame I told you. That's just them dispelling some of that water. So
and interestingly, if you were to get a drone or some type of aerial shot of that area, you'll see a big field that's sort of back in the woods a little bit. Towards the it's actually at the end of Utility Drive. You'll see this big field out there with sprinklers running pretty much all the time, and that is from the wastewater treatment plant as well. They're trying to get rid of the water
some of the volume,
and they run it out. And this is treated water, but not disinfected water.
Right.
So what they're doing is it goes onto the ground, gets filtered out through the grass and the dirt and everything like rainwater does. It goes back into the aquifer.
Yeah.
Right. Then it comes into the drinkable water treatment plant and gets treated with whatever chlorines or whatever that they treat with and shipped out to us. So it's a recycling program of sorts.
Right.
So when you see the city's sprinklers and everything running, like you said, it's not a waste of drinking water.
I want to make sure everybody knows that, because I know when you first moved here,
and that's been on Facebook recently too. People have been talking about it.
And I wanted to bring that up to people. So for the traffic, they are working on traffic calming here in the city too. So we'll talk about that on another episode. And so the new people here, you're going to see that coming to fruition finally, after several residents had been at many city council meetings for years and years, and they finally got some action.
One interesting thing, and we'll discuss it in another show, but I just think it's really kind of interesting. One of the current most outspoken people is Mr. Carr, and he lives on Florida Park Drive, and he's been complaining about a lot of issues on Florida Park Drive traffic-wise for years.
For literally years.
They've put in 2 sets of speed bumps now on Florida Park Drive that the previous administration said couldn't be put in. One set is right in front of his house. So I think it's kind of interesting that they chose that spot to put in a set. I don't know if they were sending him a message. Look, we're trying to do something for you.
I want one in front of my house.
Yeah, well,
I told them they could put it in front of my house.
Yeah.
I have no problem with it whatsoever.
They've had finally they're doing it, but they've had all kinds of. We'll discuss it on another show, but they've had all kinds of excuses.
Because we have a lot of speeders here, and the thing of it is when you come from a bigger city with a lot more traffic, and your children learn to drive in that city with a lot more traffic. And they're coming here and mingling in with the traffic that we have here already. It is causing major issues because the way we drive here is not the way we drive up there. It's just
Right.
not the same.
Roads aren't the
And you
same.
got to get used to the way we drive down here, especially the younger generation. I see them going, it's just, I can't even, that'll be a whole nother show because I need a video and I will have one. So that's a whole nother show. So back to the water. So they also want to meet the regulatory requirements, which is what I was saying with the DEP. And then they also want us to invest in infrastructure. So what I'm saying is we spent how much money on that roundabout to nowhere that they took from the utility fund that we could have used for the utility fund. It was like $20 million or something like that for the new roundabout that I know everybody gets stuck in traffic over on US 1 or that section of US 1, that section, whichever part you're on. That's put there to get out to where they're going to build next.
Yeah, the westward expansion.
That isn't helping us at all because we could still go through there the way that it was. So why didn't they invest that money into the infrastructure, into the water plant, into the water treatment plant, building the swells up better, cleaning out the ditches more? I don't know anything with infrastructure other than stuff that we don't need right now. This is the problem going on.
And but that was done under previous
the other administration,
right, not
yes.
the current
and
one.
I think that Mayor Mike, you know, I'm going to say this at City Council tonight because I am going to a meeting, and there is a meeting tonight at City Hall at 6 p.m. Water rate hike, and also the next subject, which will be the developers being added again. We're going to talk about that too. That's going to get brought up tonight as well. We need public support so they know that it's not just those of us that always show up that feel this way. We need people to come in and voice their opinion on why they don't want the apartments and why they have questions about the water hike. I don't think that it's fair to ask the current residents to pay for future development. Development doesn't pay for itself. These developers have billions of dollars, and I don't see why that money can't be put towards the infrastructure because we know the impact fees they pay are probably the highest or one of the highest in Florida. So where is all that money going? That money is going for new things. It does not go towards our old aging infrastructure. I know that's hard to believe. I don't know if we can get that changed.
It's a state thing.
It's a state thing, so no, we can't get that changed. So we've got to find other ways of revenue or some move money around. I don't know. I don't work in the government, but there's got to be a way to get more money put towards the infrastructure because the developers, they only pay to connect their development to our infrastructure. That's all that their money goes for. It does not go for, and they're going to start putting up some kind of statues of art in places to show their support of the community. You know, we need a fund from the developers to help people that are having flooding yards. That's what we need from the developers. People that are having flooding yards because of the developers that built next door or behind, and now their yard floods when you have a heavy rainstorm or rain for a couple days where it didn't happen before.
Yes.
Stormwater closed my case. So we're going back to flooded in Flagler County. I want to talk about that real quick. My case just got closed. My case got closed because the survey crew came and did the survey of my yard. And they found that my yard, when my home was built, I guess all the homes that were built in that area, at the time, the developers left most of the backyard natural.
Yes.
Okay, so the backyard being natural was okay all this time until they built new houses around me. So that's how they got out of helping me with my yard.
One of the things,
my case is closed now.
One of the things that they in the code that they changed was before it used to be water would shed forwards and backwards off your property, which is why they left the backyards natural.
Right.
But when they changed the code, they put all water has to flow to the street, to the swale, which then increases the height of these new infill builds.
Right.
In order to make that happen. But then I have no idea why the developers decide to put more dirt than necessary to make that happen by a lot more dirt.
By a lot of dirt, yeah.
I don't understand why they want to spend the extra money to go beyond where they needed to be, but they did.
They did, and there we are.
Yeah, and so the change in code to flow the water back to front naturally means that your backyard that's lower, your yard's going to get flooded.
Yeah, your yard's going to get flooded.
And it's
So
a
you
mistake
gotta
that they're not willing to stand up to.
No, they're not. So we have to fix it ourselves. So that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
And speaking to the flooded and Flagler people, if you have or live in a home where you are having flooding that you didn't have before, like I was just speaking about, I lived in my house for 5 years and through 2 hurricanes with not this problem, not until they built the 2 houses. I need about 10 of you to private message me if you can do an email for me. That's all I'm asking is an email. I'll show you the email. I'll tell you where to send it to.
How do you want them to private message you?
10 people to private message me. You can go to my Facebook page because you're probably friends with me. You can message me off the Flooded in Flagler page, which is also on Facebook. You can also get a hold of me on the Flagler Voice Podcast Studio Facebook page. I'm able to get a hold of my profile's public, so anybody can get a hold of me.
Sure.
I need 10 of you guys to step up and help me out. I've been trying to help you guys out. Now I'm asking you for some help, and I'll explain to you why privately. Now we're going to shift subjects. We're going to go off of the water subject now, and we're going to shift to the developer problem that we're having again in Palm Coast. So if you look at this, see what we got posted up here. This is almost exactly to the day a year ago. We had a huge public meeting. The Seminole Woods folks, huge group of people. We joined with them. The Loudmouths joined with them, and the Flooded and Flagler joined with them. And they've been with us all along too, to stop overdevelopment over at the south end of the Seminole Woods Boulevard there. All the way at the end, they're trying to build, it's a 375 acre planned development. They wanted to put 416 single family homes and 434 apartments in that plot. Mind you, there's a 2-lane road, and then there it is, and there's already a neighborhood built over here. So we're talking apartments looking over people's houses. I don't think I would like that either. So back a year ago, it came up for vote at City Council, and they voted no. You cannot do that. You can only build 416 single family homes. So that was a win for the residents as we won lower density. Our city has been about high density yeses, rezoning yeses. That is how we got to where we are right now, as you see. So now the developer is trying to threaten our council and mayor and us to sue us if we do not let them have what they want. So this is their MO. They've done this down at Flagler Beach with the Bulow Creek Plantation development, and that has came to a screeching halt because they're trying to do the same thing down there. They are trying to sue the city under the Burt Harris Act. And it's very hard to win those kind of cases. It's very hard to win because you have to prove that the city didn't allow you to develop on your property. But we have a thing here in Palm Coast called a comp plan, and we need to go by the comp plan. That's our defense. You knew when you bought it what our comp plan was. You don't get to trade it in now for something else for the same price. It doesn't work that way, guys. So I hope and I pray that our vice mayor, who was with us all along on this overdevelopment, and our Councilman Stevens, who sat here in this seat several times talking to us about overdevelopment, and our mayor, Mayor Mike, he was at the meetings, and I know he's against overdevelopment. You guys can spend my money here on whatever you want. I'm asking you to spend my money on this lawsuit, and I know many people would be behind me on this because you got to set a new precedent now. You
Yes.
need to set the tone, and you need to let them know that they're not running over everybody anymore, that they're going to slow it down and give us quality over quantity. That's what we need.
It's an absolute must. It's an absolute must. We have, like you said, all along had, basically we've been yes men. Our city councils have been yes men.
No.
Yeah, basically it's been yes men. And, they've been also afraid of being sued. Mm-hmm. However, the degradation of the city as we can see through the roads, as we do not have enough money to redo our roads, and the traffic is increasing. And as you said, new people don't really know the difference in the traffic. You've been here how many years?
10.
10 years. So
this year.
you've seen a big change.
Yeah.
March this year, I'll be here 42
I mean,
years.
I love the new stores and all that.
Oh,
stuff,
it's wonderful.
It's.
But you have to have the roads to do it.
Yes, we're not built for
Yeah,
that.
we don't have proper turn lanes. We don't have, extra driving lanes
There's
that are
just
needed.
too much construction going on all over it, and it seems to be really concentrated in the most congested areas already, and it's just making it so much worse. And I don't think they thought ahead about that.
I don't think they did either.
I really don't.
But there was originally a master plan, not just the comp plan and everything that we currently have, but way back when ITT first had it, first built it, there was a master plan. And I think that the master plan was tossed out, the bath with the baby with the bathwater, so to speak. But what people that are here now that have just come in really need to know is we're looking around at a population of just past 100,000, and the future population that they want
I knew that was coming.
is 250,000.
Yeah.
So we have roughly 150,000 more people planned than is here right now on an infrastructure that cannot handle what's here right now.
Right.
So it's a disaster in the making.
Think about it. It's scary when you think about it. And if we don't do these podcasts and we don't write our representatives, and if we don't show up at the meetings, then we can say zip zero nada because we didn't try to do anything. And some people think that those of us that go are fighting a losing battle. Maybe we are. But you know what? At least we tried. And at least when we're there, we have a chance of being heard, and we have a chance of them listening to us. So I want to tell you guys again, tonight, 6 o'clock, City Hall is City Council meeting. I really suggest everybody be there because we need to really help them and let them know that we have their backs and that we support them, telling these developers no. And if they sue us, spend the money. I don't care to pay for that. I don't care to pay my share for that. That's going to help the city as a whole by slowing this down and getting a grip on this stuff, because we've got to do this.
We got to get infrastructure up ahead.
People have to understand we have to do it.
You're exactly right.
So there are several meetings coming up for the water hike. And remember, you don't have to run and break your hip to get a pen. You can pause this and you can write it down in a few minutes. There's a workshop meeting February 11th at 6 p.m. And that one is actually on the water rate hike. So you're going to hear them talking about it, reasoning it out, and kind of hearing how they're thinking about it and what they're going to do.
And there'll be public comment there as well.
And there'll be public comment, yep. And then there's another one on March 4th at 6 p.m. at City Hall. That's the public hearing. That's where everybody really needs to pack the place. And then they have another public hearing in the morning at 9 a.m. on March 18th. So they have an evening one and a morning one. So everybody should be able to attend one. Grab your family, grab your groups, and try to show up to these, because we really need some clarity, and maybe they could tell us a plan on how long they're going to keep raising it, how many more years they're going to keep raising it, because we really don't know at this time. That's all I have to say on that. On the note, the dish of the day is...
Here we come. My favorite part.
This is coconut cake. So I make this at the restaurant. This is going to be a coconut sponge cake with a coconut cream, buttercream on the outside.
Amazing.
I made a cake yesterday, and we sold half of it last night at dinner service. So I'm thinking tonight the rest of it will be gone. So I brought a piece for you to try. This is probably my favorite dessert that I make. It's my favorite, and I'm watching my sugar and stuff too, so I'll have a couple bites with you. But I did bring that. You can get this at the restaurant. If you want to know if it's on the specials board, all you got to do is call and ask.
Now, which restaurant?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just assume everybody knows. So I work out in St. Augustine. I work at the Guy Harvey Resort. I'm the mixologist and the baker there. And this is probably my most popular cake, is the coconut cake people ask. So I may start making it maybe once a week, maybe, but don't hold me to it.
Now, what if somebody wanted one individually? Could they get it from you?
They can get one individually, because I also forget to mention that as well, because I'm usually talking about something to do with the city. I have a bakery out of my house. I'm licensed and insured. The state knows all about me too. It's called Sugar Shakers with a Z. You can find that on all the pages I listed earlier, or you can just follow me and see the things I make and come and order one from me at my house. You can order tons of things: cheesecakes, coconut cakes, brownies, key lime pies, all the things. So if you need something for an event or just a special occasion, I do dessert tables and single orders. Let me know. I'd love to bake for you.
That would be fantastic, and I can't wait to dig into this.
Yeah, we're going to dig into that soon. I appreciate you watching. I'm hoping the next episode we're going to be able to do it at a location. We're going to discuss that idea shortly and go from there. And I appreciate you watching. And I love Palm Coast, and I love America. See you next time.